What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I have an in-depth comparison between the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare. Stay tuned after the intro. Alright, so the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare are the two strongest balls that we have in our current catalog. They have one really big thing in common in that Coercion MXC solid reactive cover. But to be honest, that's where the similarities stop. The cores are wildly different, and on the lane there is a distinct difference in ball reaction. If you guys like this video and you like the content that I'm creating, I would super appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date every time I drop a new video. It helps me a ton the more you guys are liking my videos and the more you guys are subscribing. And if you like this jersey or any of the jerseys in any of my videos, you can head on over to logoinfusion.com, use my promo code Lewis, and that'll get you 20% off your entire order. And then down below in the description, I have links to everything that I used to make this video, from the camera to the bowling balls and the chamois on the lane. I would super appreciate it if you check out those links. So we'll start with the Jackal Legacy. The Jackal Legacy features the wildly popular Predator V2 core that has an RG of 2.47, a max differential of 0.054, and an intermediate differential of 0.015 in 15 pounds. Wrapped around that Predator V2 core is the uber impressive Coercion MXC solid reactive cover that comes out of box at a 2000 grit laser scan sand. And then the layout on this Jackal Legacy is 45 by 4 3/8 by 20. And then we'll go to the Forge Flare. The Forge Flare also has that Coercion MXC solid reactive cover, and it also comes out of box at a 2000 grit laser scan sand. But the core in the Forge Flare is the Detonator, which has an RG of 2.47 and a max differential of 0.055. So the RGs and the differentials are very similar in the Forge Flare and the Jackal Legacies, but the Jackal Legacy is asymmetrical. But these balls do not roll the same. I have them incredibly different, front to back and side to side. Both of the bowling balls in this comparison have the Coercion MXC solid reactive cover. They both have very similar layouts, and they're both freshly finished at a 2000 grit finish. I'm trying to make these bowling balls as similar as possible so that you can see the differences on the lane. You're gonna see this difference once I take you out on the lanes, but the one big thing that I'm seeing is that the Forge Flare is stronger up front with less continuation down lane. So the Forge Flare wants to get through the front a little bit easier than the Forge Flare, still earlier than a lot of other balls that we have, but it has so much more continuation in the back part of the lane. Let me know down below in the comments if you have a Forge Flare and if you're considering ordering the Jackal Legacy when it comes out on January 29th. I'm going to take you guys out on the lanes now so you can see the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare in action. Thank you guys for joining me for this in-depth comparison between the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare. Now, as always, I'm going to show you every single shot that I threw in this session in the order in which I took them. I believe that this is the only way to show you a true comparison, is to show you the good shots as well as the bad, the shots that strike and the shots that don't. Now, like I said before, the biggest and most glaring difference that I noticed right away between these two bowling balls was just how much stronger this Forge Flare was up front compared to the Jackal Legacy. Now, the Jackal Legacy, in my opinion, is still the stronger of the two balls, but it gives it to you more in the middle part of the lane and significantly more in the back part of the lane. Now, to me, this is a very interesting thing because when I first drilled the Forge Flare, I thought that it was incredibly impressive with how early it was and with how much down lane motion that you're getting out of that Forge Flare. This Jackal Legacy creates almost as much up front as the Forge Flare and significantly more down lane when compared to the Forge Flare. Now, for me, what I have seen, the Forge Flare is the strongest ball up front, but the Jackal Legacy is a very close second. But the Jackal Legacy gives way more down lane, which is an issue sometimes that I had with the Forge Flare, was when I got too far left and needed to create a lot of angle through the front, it would tend to roll a little bit forward, and then especially a lot forward compared to this Jackal Legacy. Now, I said this in the original Jackal Legacy review, but I am incredibly impressed with how strong this ball is up front and how much continuation down lane I am seeing. These two balls together, the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare, make for an unbelievable 1-2 punch. Now, as a disclaimer with that statement, you will definitely need a significant amount of oil to make these a 1-2 punch. But if the oil is there, these two balls roll incredibly well together. Something like the Forge Flare, from a little bit straighter, where you can really carve out that breakpoint down lane, and then as you chase it in, get into this Jackal Legacy, it is incredibly amazing, for me anyway. Now, because the Forge Flare is so strong up front and not so much down lane, I can really see myself throwing this Forge Flare on a lot of the really short patterns where I need the ball to use up all of its energy really fast and then not so much down lane. But I can also see myself throwing this Forge Flare on some of the longer patterns where I want to keep my angles a little bit more in front of me. Then the Jackal Legacy, because it has so much more continuation down lane, I can't see it as a great option for me on short, but I can definitely see myself throwing this on a lot of the medium patterns where there's a lot of oil up front, and a lot of the longer patterns as well, because a lot of times for me, I need something that's going to produce some shape down lane, and I think that this Jackal Legacy will be just that on the long patterns for me. Now, you all know just how much I love talking about versatility, and between these two bowling balls, it is my opinion that the more versatile one is the Jackal Legacy, just because it is almost as strong as the Forge Flare up front, but because it offers significantly more continuation down lane, that is the reason why I would choose the Jackal Legacy as the more versatile one of the two. Now, don't misunderstand my words. I'm not saying that the Jackal Legacy is a better ball than the Forge Flare. I'm just saying that it is the more versatile one of the two. These two bowling balls specifically will be very situational as to which one is better depending on the conditions that you're bowling on. I can say this with 100% confidence that both of these bowling balls are going to be in my bag for a very long time. Now, when it comes time to suggesting which one of these two bowling balls you should have in your bag, when I initially reviewed the Jackal Legacy, I said that this is a bowling ball that I think everyone should have in their bag. But if you could only get one of these two, and I really suggest getting both, but if you could only have one of the two, if you're a speed dominant bowler, I would highly suggest getting the Forge Flare just because of how much stronger it is up front. And then if you're a balanced bowler where your speed and your rev rate is more matched, I would lean a little bit more towards the Jackal Legacy because you'll see significantly more use out of that ball. I do have to say that what impresses me a lot about this Forge Flare is that some of the lower rev rates or some of the speed dominant players that I've seen throwing this ball, it looks incredible that they can get into a part of the lane that they're typically not used to playing, and this Jackal Legacy follows suit very, very well as well. As we near end to this video, I just want to say that I think that this is a very, very good time to be a Motiv fan. And to some of you guys out there who haven't thrown Motiv and are considering trying Motiv, I would highly, highly, highly suggest giving us a try. You never know, you just might fall in love. Now, this last clip that I'm going to leave you guys here with is from a lower angle with the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare from two completely different parts of the lanes with the lines. This is just to show you just how versatile both of these bowling balls actually are. Now, remember to join the Motiv Blue Facebook page. We are turning it into an unbelievable bowling community. Until next time, guys, stay motivated. Well, there you have it, folks. There's my in-depth comparison between the Jackal Legacy and the Forge Flare. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought about this video, and if you want to see more comparisons like this in the future. Click right here to watch one of my other videos. Click right here to subscribe. Till next time, guys.